One yoga pose, 1 minute. Yes, it felt a little ridiculous at first, but that's how I started. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 easy self-care hacks that I use all the time to manage my menopause symptoms naturally. No HRT. So I chose not to be on HRT. I've been in menopause for 8 years now, so I've had to find ways to manage my menopause symptoms naturally. So thing number 1, my first hack, and I think this is probably the most powerful hack of all, which I should probably say for last, but I'm just going to be straight up and tell you first, is to start small. Seriously, start so ridiculously small that it's just impossible not to do it. It's just impossible not to do it. So you got to start with something that maybe takes 1 minute or 30 seconds or 10 seconds even. So to tell you a quick story, for years and years, I wanted to do yoga in the morning. I really wanted to do my exercise in the morning because honestly, by the time evening comes around, I'm exhausted. I just don't have the energy. I have so many other things to do, so many other demands on me. So I really tried for so long to carve out time in the morning for me to do yoga, for me to do my exercise. And I just could never do it. I could never do it. Work was always calling me. Something else was always going on. I just had a meeting. I couldn't get out of bed early enough. And it was just one thing after another. But I decided at one point that I was going to start with 1 yoga pose. I was going to start ridiculously small. I was going to start with a 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes. I was going to do 1 pose before I sat down at my desk, whether it was warrior pose or tree pose or whatever it was. I was just going to literally do 1 yoga pose, and that was going to be my exercise. That was going to be my exercise. So guess what happened? Did that for maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. I got in the habit of doing that 1 yoga pose that literally took me 30 seconds or 1 minute every morning before I sat down in front of my computer. And then I was finding that I'm up, I may as well do 2 yoga poses. So I did 2 yoga poses for a while, and maybe it began to be 3 minutes. And then after a while I said, okay, I'm standing up, I'm already doing 2 minutes, let me do another one. And then it eventually became 5 minutes, some days 10 minutes, but then some other days I'd go back to 2 minutes. But on average, I was doing yoga on my own for 5-10 minutes every day. So that to me was like an amazing accomplishment. It all started with doing 1 yoga pose, and then I started to do yoga pretty much every morning for 10 minutes because I'd gotten myself in the habit of doing it. And then long story short, I said to myself, well, I'm doing yoga for 10 minutes at pretty much 8 o'clock every morning. Why don't I invite other people to do it with me? So I invited my members to come in and do a 10-minute morning routine with me every morning. And now I do a 10 to 20-minute yoga class every morning at 8 o'clock. And I teach other people. Well, they're really joining in with me. To be honest, they're really joining in with me to do when I do my own practice. So it's not so much of a class. It's more me just guiding them in what I do. But it's simple. It's easy. Anybody can do it. So that's my story, and I would really encourage you to start small. So if you want to do yoga in the morning, you can start with 1 yoga pose. And maybe you do 1 yoga pose for a month or 2 months or 6 months. And even if it's a year, I guarantee you that after a while, you will add on. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, Karin, I don't know yoga. I don't know what to do. I wouldn't even know where to start. I don't even know 1 yoga pose. I am going to share with you my Yoga for Beginners video series. I have a free video series, a free playlist, which has videos starting, I think they're all pretty much like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. There's 12 short videos. You could download them for free, and you could literally start with the first one and just do it for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. So I'm going to link to that below, and that is my free Yoga for Beginners playlist. So let me know, does that sound like something that would be useful to you? You could simply say, yes, that's useful. You could also just, comment playlist, and I will send it to you if you don't want to actually, go to the trouble of downloading it. So that was my first hack. Start small. Start so ridiculously small that you can't not do it. The second hack that I always use is called habit stacking. habit stacking. And that's a simple idea. It's where you basically stack on a new habit onto an already existing habit. So in my case, another little story, I know that strength training is also important. I need to be lifting weights. Yoga is awesome. But quite frankly, once you get to a certain level of strength, you need to also be adding in some kind of resistance training, whether it's with weights or bands, or just even your own body weight can take you far. But once you get to a certain level, you really need to up it with weights. So again, I really don't like strength training. I find weights super boring, really. I don't want to do it. It's super boring. But again, I basically use the principle of starting small and habit stacking so that right after my morning class, right after my 10-minute morning class, or I think it's 20 minutes now, I said to myself, okay, I will literally do 5 minutes of weights. I will do 5 minutes. I'll do bicep curls, I'll do squats, I'll do something really small. And now I'm up to, I think it's 20 minutes. I do like a 20-minute strength training workout after my morning yoga class. I do that on my own, but it works. And I've been doing that now for a couple of months. And I never, ever thought in my wildest dreams that I would be able to get myself to do strength training in the morning after a 20-minute yoga class. So now I basically do like a 40-minute workout every morning after trying and failing for many years. So that's the second hack that I use, and it can work with anything. You can say, okay, after I brush my teeth, I'm going to do, one yoga pose, or, after lunch, I'm going to go for a 2-minute walk, literally 2 minutes. So you're stacking one habit onto another. If you have any questions about that, please let me know in the comments. And then the last hack that I use all the time when I'm trying to create a new healthy habit is to make it easy. You want to make it easy. You want to set up your environment so that it helps you. So for example, in my case, when I was trying to start my yoga practice in the morning, I would have my yoga mat already laid out on the floor right next to my desk, right where I was about to sit down, right where I usually just sat down and start to work. I would have my yoga mat laid out. First of all, it reminded me, gave me a cue, okay, Karin, first you got to do your yoga. And it was easy. I didn't have to find my mat. I didn't have to roll it out. I didn't have to do anything. The mat was already there. I just basically stood up, did my yoga for whatever time, and then that was it. It was easy, super easy. So you got to find ways to make it really easy for yourself. So those are the 3 hacks that I use all the time to manage or to create a self-care routine in menopause without HRT. So we don't have the benefit of HRT, so we got to figure this out on our own using natural remedies. So the 3 of them are start small, habit stack, and make it easy. Now there are lots more tips that I could share, but I think this is probably plenty for today. So I have lots of other videos that go into more detail about this. You can watch the next one here. And if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And don't forget to download my free Yoga for Beginners playlist, which will give you super short, super easy yoga videos that are accessible to anybody. So they break down yoga poses into small bite-sized pieces that any beginner can do. So hope this helps. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.